Hey, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And the news has just been made official as the Las Vegas Raiders have officially released Derek Carr after 9 seasons with the organization. The Raiders were looking for a trade for Derek Carr, but Derek Carr refused to accept any trade to any team before the deadline of his $40 million being guaranteed in 2023. And the Raiders ultimately came to the decision to release Derek Carr. Now, there's a lot going to be talked about as to what is going to be next for not only the Las Vegas Raiders as an organization, but as well as Derek Carr's future and what team is he going to head to next. And I'm going to talk about both of those things in this video, as well as a little bit of why the 2022 Raiders struggled like they did. But before I get into any of that, make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow and it beats the YouTube algorithm. And if you are not subbed, go ahead and click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post on this channel. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Now, the news that the Raiders and Derek Carr are parting ways comes as a no surprise, as he was benched with 2 games left in the regular season, and as well as Derek Carr came out and said that he would not accept the trade to any team before the contract deadline kicks in. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit as in why the Raiders season did not go as everybody expected it to going into this season. One thing is the health. They had some offensive line struggles up front. This team had injuries to Hunter Renfrow. This team had injuries to Darren Waller. And those are 2 big components in this Raiders offense. And Davante Adams, despite him having a very good season, you need more than just that one particular weapon for this offense to really be successful. Now, another thing I'm going to contribute a bit into the Raiders' downfall is their inability to hold leads. I think they're in the same type of a category as the Baltimore Ravens as far as teams that have been unable to hold leads. They did have that miraculous play against the Patriots, but they struggle to hold leads. They struggle to stay in ball games late and make those plays late necessary to make them a winning football team. And they struggle in close score games. Now, you can attribute a little bit of that to Derek Carr, but I don't believe that he should have been benched at all. He was not the sole reason that the Raiders as a franchise were not successful in 2022. Now, I do attribute that a little bit to Josh McDaniels. I personally did not think the Josh McDaniels hire will prove to be the right hire for the Las Vegas Raiders, and this is where I'm going to jump into what is this going to mean next for the Raiders, as the roster that they have set up on the offensive side of the ball is a roster that has to succeed now. You have Josh Jacobs, who was refused the 5th-year option. You're probably going to have to pay him a big contract if you want him to stay around. You traded for Davante Adams last season, and he proved to be a big help for this offense. You have the offensive line struggles. Darren Waller is not getting any younger. Davante Adams not getting any younger. On the defensive side of the ball, Chandler Jones struggled with injuries. You have a cornerback situation that's not good. You let go of Jonathan Abrams in the middle of the season. So as we look at this Raiders roster now, on the defensive side of the ball, there's still a lot to be questioned despite the play of Maxx Crosby. And you look on the offensive side of the ball, some of the main pieces that they have on this offense, especially Adams and Renfrow, are a little bit older, and the offensive line was a bit of a makeshift show, if you want to call it that and make it that at best. So one thing I think this Raiders team is going to do at this quarterback position, they could be looking to move up in the draft if they don't pull off a trade for Aaron Rodgers, which I won't get too deep into that in this video in particular. But I think the better thing for them is to scrap this team and start the rebuilding from ground up. Now, it is time to touch on Derek Carr. What is this going to mean next for Derek Carr and his future? There are a couple of teams that kind of stand out to me as possible destinations for Derek Carr. One, I think, will be the Tennessee Titans. It's interesting to see what they're going to do with Ryan Tannehill going forward. The times that we saw Malik Willis, there was really not much to really grow for. And it's not like they spent the first round pick or a second round pick on Malik Willis. So if you think there is a replacement for Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill, I think this team can go get a Derek Carr. But I still think the Titans have a lot of other questions, especially at the wide receiver position. Some of the things in the secondary could be questioned for this Titans team besides Byard. Up front, Harold Landry was a solid player, but will Derek Carr come into this Titans roster and help it? Yes, but will he solve a lot of their problems? I don't believe so. Another team could be the Carolina Panthers. This team has a very young defense and still a very growing defense with guys like J.C. Horn, with guys like Brian Burns. They can be a really successful defense. Jeremy Chin as well. But they did a little bit of a fire sale offensively, getting rid of Christian McCaffrey, getting rid of Robbie Anderson, even though Robbie Anderson didn't have that great of success in Carolina or Arizona. Can Derek Carr make this team better? Yes. With Frank Wright now taking over the Rams, we're interested to see how they're going to go in that quarterback situation from there. Another team could be the Washington Commanders. They have a ton of questions this offseason, especially what they're going to do with the defensive front with Dewan Payne. Can Chase Young come back and be healthy in 2023? We do have a very young stud wide receiver in Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel did play a good part in that. Josh Dawson was very successful for the Commanders team. So can Derek Carr come into that situation and make them better? Yes, as well. But I think they're going to go probably develop the Sam Howell route. I'm not sure yet. The Indianapolis Colts, I don't think they should go after him. The Indianapolis Colts is a team I think they need to scrap and rebuild. And putting Derek Carr on an Indianapolis Colts team, it's not going to help this team go any bit forward. I think the Colts are out of the question. They need to scrap and rebuild. One team that can also be a possibility will be the New York Jets. They have Garrett Wilson at the wide receiver position. I'm pretty sure Corey Davis is probably going to be a cap cut. Elijah Moore is probably going to fit better with a guy like Derek Carr. You have a defense led by Robert Saleh with Quentin Williams, Quan Alexander, C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner, the reigning defensive rookie of the year, DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead. They have the defensive pieces to build and move forward. They are still a young defensive unit. And on offense, we've seen with this New York Jets team, they were a quarterback away from really being a contender in the AFC West. Now, we know we had the Miami Dolphins and we know we had the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots to compete with in that division. But when they were getting solid quarterback play, whether it was Mike White or sometimes Flacco and a little bit of Zach Wilson, they were a team that stood a chance to be very competitive. But that Breece Hall injury did hurt the running game tremendously. And you get Derek Carr in there who can spread the football out to the weapons of Wilson, Berrios, Mims, Moore. And you have an offensive line that's solid with Brown, Tomlinson, McGovern, Vera Tucker, and Becton. Hopefully Becton can stay healthy, and that is going to be the key. The New York Jets, I think they're probably going to try to go more towards the Aaron Rodgers route, especially with the Nathaniel Hackett hire. Derek Carr, I think, could be a very good fit with this New York Jets football team. There are two teams I think can benefit the most from bringing in Derek Carr, and they're both in the NFC South. One of them is the New Orleans Saints. Now, they do have a question of whether they're going to bring Michael Thomas back, but they do have Chris Olave, they do have Rashid Shaheed, they do have Jawan Johnson, who played a very good role in this offense. Alvin Kamara is with a Swiss Army knife, as well as Taysom Hill. And I think this New Orleans Saints team, defensively, they are one of the more stout defenses in the league when healthy. We seen last year they had a bit of the injury bug, especially with Marshawn Lattimore missing a ton of time last year. But I think you could bring Derek Carr into this offense with Olave, if assuming they're going to keep Michael Thomas. Marquez Callaway is another weapon that could be very successful with a guy like Derek Carr. I mentioned Shaheed. They have an offensive line that I believe is solid with Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, and Ramczyk, and Trevor Penning at the young left tackle. I think you bring in a quarterback to capitalize on this defense that is only getting older. They still have one of the better defenses when all healthy. So I think you're going to get a veteran quarterback onto this New Orleans Saints roster. And outside of Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr is the absolute best thing available. So I believe Derek Carr can come in and fit right in with this New Orleans Saints, and I think he will elevate them tremendously. And another team which I think is the biggest possibility and I think will be the absolute best fit will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, this is going to be the post-Tom Brady era, but you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, Kay Otten and Cameron Brate came in and did some successful things with this offense. You have an offensive line that for much majority of this past season was not healthy, and it really showed. And they are also a team kind of similar to the New Orleans Saints, where their winning window is right now, especially with guys like Devin White, Davante Davis, Shaquille Barrett. We're interested to see how he's going to come back off that torn Achilles. Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, and Vita Vea. Some of the better pieces in the league at each respective positions on their defense, and they have an offensive line that can come back and be fully healthy, which I think is going to make them even better going forward. And of course, you have to transition from the Tom Brady era, and I think the best thing to do for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, I don't think you go get Aaron Rodgers. I think you go get Derek Carr, who still has a lot more left in the tank than you would in Aaron Rodgers. So the best fit for me for Derek Carr will be to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that is all I've got. Make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow. Comment you guys' thoughts on the entire Derek Carr situation below. And as always, click the sub button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the content. But I'm APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.